This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Well, God bless each and every one of you beautiful people for joining us today here on the Jack Murphy Podcast. You know, they say, by the way, Alfred Trevette, the famous actor with me today, as always, they say, Alpha, there is a first time for everything.
It seems so.
I don't know that I believe that at all. I mean, I think, Hillary Clinton's never going to tell the truth. We're never going to know what happened in certain situations with like JFK.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, something did happen that I never thought would happen, and I'm gonna say it today because I never thought it would happen. I have never heard Joy Reid, formerly of MSNBC, say anything that I agreed with.
Oh, but she did?
Yesterday, she did a segment on a podcast that I applaud her for. I agree 100%.
Okay.
Former MSNBC host, hard for me to say, host Joy Reid spoke out against transgender identifying biological men being allowed to use women's facilities.
Oh, my. Wow.
Now isn't that one of the core left-wing liberal democratic positions?
Yes, it is. And I am stunned that she would even utter those words.
She said she would freak out if she saw a naked man in a women's facility. Now, I think she has, what do you call that when you, body dysmorphia? Is that what it's called when you don't? You're not comfortable with your own body.
Which was recognized as a mental illness for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which most of these left-wing liberals have. During an episode of Read This, Read That, she always has to do something clever with her name. Remember, her show was called The Read Out?
Yeah.
Her podcast is Read This, Read That. Anyway, she said she was talking about this situation at Gold's Gym that involved a black woman and a transgender woman. And the black woman, who was uncomfortable with this transgender man roaming around the women's bathroom with his ding-dong dangling around, and then they kicked the black woman out and let the transgender person stay.
Right.
Again, the world is upside down, folks, if you haven't noticed. So Reid noted that the black woman, Trish Heyman, described the biological man as being a grown man with a big penis.
All righty. And I guess he was proud of it. She was proud of it.
Yeah. During the discussion, Joy revealed that when she was working for MSNBC, which has now been renamed MS Now,
right,
she would go to the gym. She would always change in a private room. My gym there's no private rooms when I used to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I went to the real cheap. I went to the purple gym, the cheap one, $10 a month. But she said, I'm not trying to change in front of people like that, not even women. She said, I don't need people to see me naked and then see me in the hallway later. I'm with you. I never liked that growing up when I played sports. I never liked that group shower.
Well, you would hate prison.
Yeah, I would really hate prison. But anyway, I agree with her. She said, it's not even like perky boobs, just women walking around with their boobs dangling. I'm talking about boobs dropping to the knees, she said, kicking their boobies down the street. And then they want to walk up and have a conversation with you. Well, again, I agree 100% with Joy Reid for the first time in history.
Yeah, and I agree with you because a lot of times you go to a gym and you go in the locker room and then shower, and there's old coots like us walking around, with their nutsack hanging out, and they're like, you could use them for flotation devices.
Exactly.
It's like wong, bong, bong. I agree. There should be some sort of modesty all the way around. When
Yes.
men are in men's room, when women are in women's room, they should
Exactly.
have some degree of privacy. But when men try to go into women's room, there should be no argument that should be allowed.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I used to go to the YMCA years ago, and I still have some images burned into my brain that it was the time of the day that I went was when all the old men went.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have no shame. You know, these guys, I guess they were probably about the age I am now. I still have shame, but these guys had no shame. It was like 30, 65, 75-year-old guys roaming around nude.
Well, and remember Jeff Foxworthy used to tell a story about during the holidays, the grandparents would come over and he walked in on his grandmother in the shower and saw her naked. He said she looked like a bloodhound in a shower cap.
Oh, my Lord.
We're watching some footy game in America. The Rams and the San Francisco 69ers play some rubbish game. 40!
49ers!
But that sounds much more interesting.
Yes! A lot of people might pay to see them.
That's what we were doing.
The 49ers.
That's much harder to explain to your wife.
All right, so today there's a bunch of follow-up news on the Jeffrey Epstein story. Yesterday we talked about it at length, and I guess last night the House voted, as we thought they would, to release all the info they have on the Jeffrey Epstein, all the files, the phone records, and all that stuff. And I said on my walk in the woods this morning that I don't think we're going to learn much of anything. I think a lot of it's going to be heavily redacted for national security reasons because Epstein was playing both sides of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's no doubt about that. He was trying to buy influence anywhere he could. But there are, I think, some pretty interesting questions about the investigation. And one of the first questions I have is the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have representatives from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and they don't even get to vote, do they?
No, they're not even Congress people. They are officially referred to as delegates.
Well,
However,
what's the point?
Exactly. They get to serve on committees, which doesn't make sense to me either. They have no vote.
Right.
And Washington, D.C. is the same way.
So we have
non-voting
D.C., we have D.C., the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Guam. Those are the four.
Right.
And they all get to send people to Congress, but they don't get to vote, but we put them on important committees.
Like intelligence.
Now, representative, that's not even the correct term, is it?
Well, you can say representative, yes. You can't. She's not a congressperson.
Well, the House of Representatives.
Well,
I think she should be called Delegate Stacey Plackett.
I agree, but she objects. She wants to be called congressman, but that's not what she is.
Well, she's not a congressman. Our territories do not get a vote.
No.
So anyway, she is apparently on the Intelligence Committee. Is that what was going on?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. So who was it that she was grilling that day? Cohen?
Cohen, who was Donald Trump's attorney for a while, who then turned on him and
Are we talking about the mean Cohen?
What was
Or
his
are we
name?
talking about the recent attorney? His kind of lackey attorney.
The one who was sentenced to jail and is now serving prison time.
That's the recent lackey one. All right, so she's talking to him, she's grilling him about Donald Trump, and she has a phone, and she's receiving text at the time, and now we know those texts were from Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
He's telling her what questions to ask, and then he even tells her at the end of it, "Good job."
Mm-hmm. So get the importance of this. Now, she's on the Intelligence Committee. They are trying to impeach Donald Trump.
Right.
They have one of the subjects of this investigation, Jeffrey Epstein, calling her, telling her what questions to ask so they can impeach Donald Trump. So you cannot say with any degree of confidence or intelligence that he was a friend of Donald Trump, because he was trying to get Stacey Plaskett to ask questions that would impeach him.
Sure makes it look that way, doesn't it? And so when this delegate Stacey Plaskett, was confronted with this evidence, they always use the same defense. Don't look at me. You should be looking at Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to talk about what is really happening here. Your attacks on working families, your protection of powerful predators and corporate criminals. You want to talk about texting felons? How often do you text President Donald J. Trump?
There it is.
That's the individual we should be concerned about.
Not you who are texting with the actual pedophile during an actual hearing inside the Congress.
And you being a member of the Intelligence Committee, that would indicate that he has some sort of connection to intelligence, maybe the CIA, maybe the FBI, maybe Mossad, maybe all the above.
Exactly.
So what are the links there, and why does he have your direct phone number to text you?
And I think that's why Epstein is dead. I mean, I really do. He had crap on everybody. This guy was a master manipulator. He worked both sides of the fence, and he went wherever he needed to go to establish the power he needed to stay wealthy and influential like he was. But there's all kind of bombshells coming out.
Yes.
And I don't know why it's taken so long. We're just hearing about some of this stuff. I think maybe some of it, let's take, for instance, if you're Hakeem Jeffries, who is the minority leader in the House of Representatives. If you're him and there's some Jeffrey Epstein stuff out there, maybe you get certain people to leak it now so it gets out and it doesn't look so damning when it comes out, when all the stuff's released tomorrow. That's one way to look at it. Or you're hoping none of it would ever come out, but damn it came out anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening to him. I got a couple of clips about Hakeem Jeffries today.
Well, there's two updates on Stacey Plaskett.
The bill that released the Epstein files is headed to Trump's desk. It's passing through the House and Senate. The Epstein release has been a roller coaster. Is the ride over? We don't know. We know Democrats think it'll damage the president, but now it's backfiring on them big time. Remember, Epstein was a Democrat. He was a Democrat donor, and he hung out with Democrats and the liberal media at all of his homes. Larry Summers, who worked for both Clinton and Obama, was a pen pal with the pedo, even asking Epstein for dating advice. And now he's stepping down from his gig at Harvard. Oof. Bill Clinton was supposed to testify last month, but his lawyers are playing games. Careful. You can go to jail for ignoring a House subpoena.
Yeah, I got your message that Bill and Hillary are declining to testify, but they can't. I mean, if they get subpoenaed, they can't not show up, right?
That's why there is a very strong possibility that they could be arrested, which would be an interesting.
But they haven't issued a subpoena for them to appear yet, have they?
They were supposed to have appeared in October.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then fine, arrest them.
Yeah, they canceled, they postponed, and then they were supposed to appear this past week. And they're going, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to show up. Well, and you're right. If they cannot ignore a subpoena from Congress.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, I can't figure out the media right now. They have me very confused because on one hand, I see them turning on Trump the way they kind of did in the first term, particularly at the local level. These companies like Nexstar and some of the big media companies are kind of leaning that way pretty heavily. But they're starting to ask some pretty pointed questions of people like Hakeem Jeffries in these press conferences on Capitol Hill.
Year extension.
Peter Jeffries. Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing, and at one point he tells her, good job.
This is a bipartisan effort
Here we go.
to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability.
Didn't even get close to answering the question, just went with in his mind, he was saying, just give him that answer you've been rehearsing all day. Give him that answer. Don't screw it up. Don't show any facial expression. Just give him that answer that you've been practicing all day. He pulled it off.
That look on his face was priceless. It was that, what you talking about, Willis? Look,
Yeah, it was not a comfortable moment.
Well, there's two updates now on Stacey Plaskett.
Okay.
Janie Raskin was in the House yesterday, and he was saying, she was just receiving a phone call from a constituent. Now, I don't know that there's anything wrong with a member of Congress receiving a phone call from a constituent during a hearing.
Can I ask you a question? Because I was going to look this up, and I didn't get time before the podcast started. Epstein Island. Wasn't it? Was that in the Caribbean or was it in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
It's
in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay.
Yes.
I thought, for some reason, I thought it was in the Caribbean. So that would make him a constituent. But still, I don't believe you text your constituents in the middle of a hearing on Capitol Hill.
Plus, with all his accusations, and he had already been convicted as being a pedophile and trafficking at that point. And then he was still texting her, and she was, doing exactly what he said. Another update. The vote was in yesterday to censure her and remove her from the Intelligence Committee. The vote failed. There were a number of Republicans who voted not to censure her. Update number 3. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna from Florida rose in the House to say there was a reason that they voted not to censure her, because it was a deal. They made a backroom deal trading one set of ethics accusations against Stacey Plaskett. And that other person was Corey Mills, who was about to be brought up on charges who has been accused of sexually harassing an ex-girlfriend by threatening to post.
And I guess Corey Mills is a Republican?
He is.
Okay.
So they went to the Democrats and said, I tell you what, we won't censure her if you won't proceed with charges against Corey Mills. And
I'm not sure it's worth it.
Deal done.
I'm not sure it's worth it. I think I'd rather have Plaskett than Corey Mills.
I agree. I agree. But that was the deal that was made. And that just shows you how corrupt they are all the way through, both sides of the aisle. They are both hiding.
I saw an interesting interview yesterday with a guy who's he's a psychiatrist, and he was talking about his patients. He's being interviewed about, it appears that more people are having trouble coping nowadays.
Yeah.
When we look around us, it just seems like there's a lot more people that aren't coping well with what's going on, whether it's politics or the United States or the government or the media.
Affordability.
It's just that they wig out totally. I mean, they just totally lose it over everything.
Right.
And so they were asking this psychiatrist. I thought it was a great question. They asked him, have you noticed it? And he goes, noticed it. I have to deal with them.
Yeah.
And he said, it's amazing. And he put a number on it. And I think the number was either 27 or 37%. He said either 27 or 37% of the young patients that he sees, he said, have full-blown Trump derangement syndrome. And he said it means that everything they look at is seen through that lens.
Right.
Whether it's sports or politics or equal rights or immigration, everything is seen through the TDS lens. And he said it just F's up their head tremendously because they can't think and act rationally. I mean, they're going to see a psychiatrist. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Personally, I've said this before. I think a lot of this is demonic. That a lot of these people are possessed demonically, and it's causing it in an attempt to tear the fabric of our society and the family apart. But here we have a psychiatrist saying it.
Well, I mean, Rosie O'Donnell, you can look at her. She
Perfect
said
example.
she can't sleep because of that. She moved out of the country because
she lives in a foreign country and can't sleep.
And
her daughter is going to prison.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Her daughter just got sentenced to prison for some kind of drug thing.
Drugs,
yet every day she spends her day dreaming up something bad to say about Trump and post on TikTok or social media. It's crazy.
And you say it's demonic, and you have to ask yourself, what other explanation could you offer for someone? For example, there is a Turning Point USA rally or conference or meeting or whatever, and they show up and scream hateful things at the people who want to attend this rally, conference, memorial service, whatever. They show up on campuses and refuse to allow students to organize a Turning Point USA chapter. I mean,
not just that, but I've seen 2 videos yesterday, and I get so frustrated because the technology for coding these videos has gotten better and better and better. And so whenever I want to use a video, sometimes you can't because you can't decode it to play on the podcast. But there were 2 videos that were on, one was on Instagram, one was, I think, on TikTok. But they were both Turning Point USA, peaceful setup, table, some brochures. They're engaging with students, having conversations, and professors of the colleges and universities walk in and wreck the place. They walk in and go, "You fascists, you Nazis." And they'll go, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're nuts." And they're flipping them and just going nuts. And the next day, they're right up there in front of their class teaching, just like everything's okay.
And it's amazing because sometimes
that's not normal.
You'll ask people like that, well, what is it you object to? Do I have to tell you?
They don't have an answer.
Yes, and there's some deeper reason for them to have that much vehemence and hatred for an organization that's not
it's like
hateful.
you can look at them and almost see the demonic in them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just see the hate and the anger that's in there. It's not normal for what they're protesting against. The things that Turning Point USA talks about are things that we've talked about in this country since it started, pretty much, minus abortion and a couple of other things.
Right.
But it's the same issues, but suddenly they're in a rage about them. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of hatred, and hatred doesn't come from a good place.
I'm so glad you finally got a day off.
I know, I've been working nonstop.
I was thinking maybe we do a little brunch day, go to Target. Oh, also I need to go to Ulta. Oh, and you could take me to get my nails done. I feel like that would just be the perfect day. Right here, what I'm saying, you're not really responding.
Yeah.
The Jack Murphy Podcast.
Well, Alpha, I'm a pretty progressive guy.
Of course you are.
And I like to consider myself somewhat of a moderate. I don't like extremes.
Okay.
So when I see a right-wing MAGA extremist talking about what's wrong at the border, it really gets my anger up. I'll tell you.
The Bush administration has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need.
Which, of course, he didn't.
Of course.
He didn't do any of that. He did the opposite of that. So did Biden. But, yesterday I was talking about Charlotte's Web. And today, this morning, I was watching the local Fox affiliate, a Next Star station. And they're again, in the local media, it's the end of the world. I'll tell you how bad it is. When ICE got ready to come, Alpha, to Charlotte to do all these raids and arrest people that were wanted and were here illegally, etc., they didn't have enough vehicles for these teams. In other words, they had a bunch of like 4-man teams that were going out to raid specific houses or businesses that they'd gotten tips on. So they needed vehicles. So they go to Rick Hendrick Automotive, the biggest car dealer in the United States.
Been there for years.
Yeah, the big NASCAR guy or whatever.
Right,
he owns almost every dealership in Charlotte,
sure,
in North Carolina, all different brands. Anyway, they go and buy 25 brand new SUVs, which they're going to start using. Like my understanding is they're leaving Charlotte tomorrow and going to Raleigh to do the same thing. But anyway, there are people that are protesting at Rick Hendrick's auto dealerships because they sold vehicles for the government to participate in Charlotte's Web. That was one of the big stories this morning. Another one was, there's a guy, a middle-aged white guy, he owns a laundromat in a section of Charlotte that is a large population is Hispanic. It's a big laundromat.
You don't have laundromats in the Queens neighborhood over there in Charlotte, for example.
Right.
That's where laundromats are.
Myers Park, there's not a lot of laundromats in South Park or Myers Park.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're interviewing this guy, and he's saying, yeah, we should hurry up and leave. All my customers are scared to come in, and they're afraid to come in and wash their clothes, thinking ICE. Well, about that time, ICE is chasing a guy down the street. Some Trinidad gang member that's wanted. They're chasing him down the street. He cuts through the laundromat, and the guy locks the door. And all the other people in the laundromat run out the back. And the ICE people are out there, and he's going, just a minute ago on camera, he's talking English, and he goes, no comprehendo.
No habla.
Now, first of all, he ought to be arrested for obstruction of justice, for stopping it. But it was it was like watching a movie. You couldn't invent it if you tried to.
Yeah, it's getting messy there in Charlotte, man. They protesting.
Yeah, well, they've got
everywhere.
what was it yesterday? I told you 1,400 people in jail. I think today it's more like 1,700.
Yeah,
but they're going to leave tomorrow.
Yeah, and then going to Raleigh.
And going to Raleigh, Durham. And it'll be the same thing there because North Carolina is a hot spot. I think we're number 9 in the country, state-wise, for illegal immigration.
Wow.
I think we're the 9th largest state in the country for illegal immigration. A few minutes ago, we were talking about Trump derangement syndrome. I think this young lady, she epitomizes that 27 or 37% that we were talking about who have TDS so bad, they just can't function.
My best friend of 14 years, literally half of my life, I'm 28, and I asked them who they voted for. They said Donald Trump.
Ruined
and they said, I'm assuming you voted the opposite. And I said, yes. And then my friend texted me and said, will you still be my friend?
Did she fart?
I didn't.
Half of my life, this person is my best friend.
Right.
I mean, you see what I mean? It's not, it's the arrogance of you thinking you get to decide how your friend votes, and if they vote differently, that they're not worthy of your friendship anymore.
Yeah.
That you would sit around and cry about it.
There have been people in my life ever since I was old enough to vote who would vote differently from me, or, they'd feel differently about this issue or that issue. But it was like, well, okay. You go your way, I'll go mine.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you're willing to break up friendships or families over it, you've advanced beyond this is just something I'm going through too. Yeah. There's something mentally, emotionally wrong there.
That's why, not today, but in the next couple of days with Thanksgiving coming up, we're going to go over some etiquette tips for Thanksgiving, because we don't want you to have an unsuccessful Thanksgiving at your house. And it's easy to do, and it's easily avoidable.
Yeah, when Uncle Eddie gets a snoot full and he's going off on something, yeah, I can guess so.
Hey, I'm just here to remind you that when life isn't horrible, it's actually pretty good. So if you just don't think about how horrible it is and think about how good it is, then it gets better. Even though the horrible stuff's still happening, there's still a lot of good stuff.
Now, Alpha, I know you have been chomping at the proverbial bit this entire podcast to alert the public, the almost 300 watchers of subscribers to this podcast, that the Virginia Tech Hokies have a new football coach.
See, now, and you said what last week? Never.
I was totally wrong.
Never.
I thought it would never happen to me. I thought there were better jobs, and to me, that's a step down for him, but good for them for getting him.
What do you mean a step down? He can go to a team where you've already, your years past the legend, Frank Beamer. You've had two guys who stepped in and failed. You have a conference that is a little easier than, say, the SEC to win the championship, and you can rebuild a program. Now, he's already got a huge recruiting footprint in the Delmarva area.
You're not trying to hire me. You don't have to say, I'm not going to be playing for Virginia Tech.
Okay.
So you don't have to recruit me. I get it. And just because I knew you're going to be bringing this up, look what I wore today. I've got my Georgia Bulldog shirt on today. Well, good for them. I'm happy for them, and I hope he can do all that your sales pitch entails there.
All I'm saying is there's already players that he recruited at Penn State who are going, I think I'm going to move south to Virginia. And he recruited in Virginia big already. So,
any idea what he got?
I don't know that figure, but I can find that out. I mean, they were talking in the $250 million range over the course of his contract.
For how many years? 10?
Not sure. I don't know the details.
Well, it's got to be more than that. Wait a minute. Look, Kirby Smart only makes 11.
Okay.
So what'd you give? A 30-year contract?
No, maybe 10.
20. How much? How many millions did you say?
$250 million. So that's $25 million a year. Plus
there's no way they're paying him $25 million a year.
I'm not putting a figure on it. I'm saying that those were numbers they're thrown around. And I do know, I've got some friends in high places there at Virginia Tech, and they were saying beforehand, we've got a lot of money and we're willing to spend it on the right guy. And they decided that
I want you to get the figure. I want to hear what they paid for this genius once they get it.
All right, I'll ask.
It's got a long list of things to accomplish. Your sales pitch is pretty long there. So Dolly Parton, how old is Dolly now?
She's got to be mid-80s.
Mid-80s, and the woman's mind just won't stop dreaming up ways to make money.
Now, you shared something with me that I found unbelievable. What time she gets up in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of those people that she's had a habit her whole life of getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, 3 a.m. She says.
3 a.m. in the morning, excuse me,
Yeah.
and just never stopped doing it. I spent 35, 40 years getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I still wake up to this day at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm able to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And I sleep till about 5, and then I get up.
So what's she got going on now?
But Dolly's got a new business idea. She's about to open the Song Teller Hotel in Nashville, and now she's opening up truck stops.
Of course.
She saw what they were doing at Buc-ee's, and she said, I'm going to get in on some of that action. She's opening Dolly's Tennessean Travel Stop in Cornersville, Tennessee.
Huh.
Now, let me tell you something. Do you know how hard it is I had a joke I was going to insert. I was going to say Alpha, and I've already got the logo picked out. And I went to try to find a picture of a big set of boobs, and I was going to write Dolly on one, Parton on the other. And you can't get a free picture of a boobs on the internet anymore.
Wait a minute.
They're all owned by
They're all
owned by Getty Images.
You can't get a picture of Jugs? My God.
Exactly. Anyway, she said, I've spent the bulk of my life on the road, and more specifically on a bus. And after all those years of visiting greasy spoon cafes, truck stops, and roadside pit stops, have given me an understanding of what travelers need and want. So she's going to open the first one next spring.
Well, better look out, Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
I bet it does well.
Buc-ee's has beaver nuts or something, right? Don't they? Isn't that what they have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could have Dolly's nips as little snacks, like cheese nips. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And they have a lot of milk. They sell a lot of milk there, too. A lot of chocolate milk, strawberry milk.
You could have milk duds,
And they have unique containers that they come out of. All the soft drinks come out of really unique
There's endless ideas, Dolly, and I know she's thinking of all of them.
We're 12. Folks, we're 12.
Of
I'm
course.
sorry.
Yeah.
We're just 12-year-old boys, that's all.
Yeah. Because
By the way, speaking of Thanksgiving, our friends at Heinz, the ketchup company, have come up with one of the dumber ideas I've ever heard of. Heinz has launched their first ever squeezable gravy bottle.
Okay.
Featuring its home-style turkey gravy. It's called Leftover Gravy. It's really made for sandwiches, and it's available exclusively at Walmart.
Mm.
It's really true every Thanksgiving when you like I cook and you make a big thing of gravy, there's always gravy left over, and it doesn't store well. It usually separates, and if you try to warm it up, it just doesn't work very well. So, I guess it'll work. I don't know, but I'll pass on squeezable gravy from Heinz in a plastic.
Okay, when you
container.
make Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, do you make dressing or stuffing?
Alpha, I have a very famous stuffing recipe that was my mother's.
Bet you do.
And I have given out literally tens of thousands of copies of it over the year. And this year, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a video of how to make it. I posted the recipe on Facebook yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's a stuffing. You don't put it in the turkey. So it's really a dressing, but we call it a stuffing. But it has sausage, wild rice, croutons, water chestnuts.
Oh, man.
Chicken broth, onions, garlic in it, and you bake it. And it's really good. It's not dry like a lot of, dressings are. It's very moist. It's almost like a meal, but I've never had anybody who tried it that didn't say, that's the best stuffing I've ever had.
Okay, so but some people call it stuffing and some people call it dressing. So you interchange.
Yeah,
You can do
well,
both.
what happens is some people actually stuff it in the
Yes.
turkey. I
Yes.
don't do that because I don't. The problem with doing that is if you stuff the inside of the turkey, you slow down the cooking process because
Yeah.
you've put this cold stuff inside it. So your turkey has to cook longer for the stuffing to get done. Now you got
Yes.
dried out turkey.
Yeah. And after all, hasn't
And-
this turkey suffered enough indignity?
Exactly. He's
Without
naked.
your
You're stuffing
yeah.
stuff in his cavity without his permission.
right up
Not
the old
good.
hole. You know, it's come on. Yeah, my friend Susan makes oyster dressing. You ever had that?
I have had that, and that's one that a lot of people do put inside the turkey. And I like it. It's okay. I like this sausage stuffing better, but nothing wrong with oyster stuffing.
Well, I've never had it, and she's going to have some for me when I go see her in a few weeks.
Alpha, you were telling me earlier something that I find hard to believe. You know, if you look at an ad anymore for any new neighborhood or any new club or country club or any real estate in Florida, almost after the first couple of highlights, the second or third thing they say is, and look at all these pickleball courts.
Yeah.
They got pickleball courts everywhere. And every city and suburb, and we're opening our new pickleball park. I've never played pickleball. I've never had an I have a friend who I worked with years ago. He was a guest on the show, Chris Kelly. Him and his buddy won some sort of they're going to some national pickleball playoff.
Yeah.
Where there's a big cash prize, but not every community is all gung-ho on the pickleball.
No, Carmel, California. In fact, they are seriously considering banning pickleball in the
What's the
one
reason?
park that is set up to have pickleball courts. And they're going, no matter how much you old coots want to play pickleball, we're going to ban it because they had lots of complaints they had complaints from some neighbors or who live nearby the park or people who frequented the park.
Constant noise and grunting.
People yelling, old folks, grunting.
Yeah, falling down and hurting themselves. It's funny you should say that. I saw I like when I'm working out, I go on YouTube and I watch real estate videos of Florida. I don't know why it relaxes me.
Yeah.
You know, they give you tours of these beautiful homes on the ocean and condos and stuff. And there's also people on there who do stuff like top 10 reasons to never move to West Palm Beach. And it'll just one video will end and it'll come on. And one of the guys is saying, I bought this top floor of this 4-story condo building, and one of the big selling points was they had a great pool and this huge pickleball court. And he goes, have you ever woke up at 7 o'clock in the freaking morning on Saturday and he goes, they play it endlessly around you have to practically threaten to call the police on them to get them to stop playing at night. They just won't stop playing pickleball, and it's infuriating. I mean, this guy was like over the top, so it's a noisy sport.
Well, not like the old days when the old coots played shuffleboard, and then they had the shuffleboard courts. That's a calm sport. That's a quiet sport.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
we'll
curling
see how
on cement.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to stay on top of that and see how the fight against pickleball goes in Carmel, California. Well, we are out of time for today. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the Jack Murphy podcast. If you haven't, go ahead and open a YouTube account. It's free, and subscribe to the podcast, like this video, and we'll do our best to be back tomorrow with another 30, 45 minutes of just pure entertainment joy here on the Jack Murphy podcast. Yeah. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.